everybody, I'm Tom Vassell.
I am Z Garcia. Good morning, folks.
I'm Mike Delisio. Hello.
Now, you might be wondering where our good friend Mr. Bonacore is, and obviously the sarcasm on the word friend. Now, he just wasn't able to make it today, had something that he had to get done, but he'll be back next week, unless, of course, our ratings go through the roof this week, which I imagine already the numbers are climbing as people are finding this out. So Mike has graciously decided to step in. I am concerned that I may lose the game today.
That's
I'm
right.
just kidding.
Get ready.
I'm still full of confidence and youthful vigor.
Full of something.
False confidence, I would go with. Okay.
Yeah, I'm always full of something. I'm on the internet. I'm always being told that. All right. We want to do a shout out to some of our Kickstarter backers. Want to say thank you to Josh Aldrich, to Bluebeard Entertainment, to Graham Peoples, to Kevin and the Alger Girls, and to Bradley Encone. Thank you all very much for supporting us.
Thank you very much. Some of my favorite bands, actually, Kevin and the Alger Girls. Yeah. I really like them. They have a Christmas album coming out soon.
The second album was a little weak, but they really came back with that third one. It was great.
Well, it was a single. You know?
Right.
Well, folks, it's December. So December is an interesting month in the board gaming world because people start talking about, like you'll notice even in the news, we're talking about stuff that's like way next year. That's just how it works out. There's no more games being announced coming out now, usually. Everyone's wants you to go buy their games that were already announced for your friends for Christmas. And I think you have, what was it, to the 9th in America?
To what?
To get things out? Like if you don't ship something by December 9th, it's not guaranteed to get to your recipient.
Oh, okay.
That's why I do all my shopping on the 8th. So
that sounds good. That's the way I do my taxes.
Actually, Amazon, which is where I do a chunk of my shopping, I'm always like, I'll be like ordering stuff for my kids, and I'll look at one and I click it, and it was like, it will come March 13th. I'll be like, oh, that's like giving a kid a gift. It's like, it's coming eventually. Right. Very problematic. And I'm not saying that's ever happened, but
that was a real specific date. The way you said March 13th, that carried weight.
It did. Absolutely.
All right, folks. Well, because we did not do breakfast last week, we have an overabundance of contributors. So you're going to see a few more today than normal. And if you are a contributor and you're like, where's my segment? They're spilling over. So we'll be having them over the next few breakfasts. But here are some of them to get us started.
A parent sent me a video of a child talking about my show.
Hey, Dad. Are you watching When Amy's Here again?
What the? Today, we're going to check out a game called Tank Duel. Enemy in the crosshairs. Yes! Oh no, I always get killed! No! This game, Enemy in the Crosshairs Tank Duel, is designed by Mike Bertuccelli and published by GMT. It plays 0 to 1 million player game. 1 million people can play 1 million tanks. Now this tank game has a little bit of realistic simulation in it. It's not like one of these games. Tank battle. Fun for the whole family. When someone fires their big gun, bam, and hits your tank, well, is it gonna deflect? How thick is your armor? And then if it penetrates, where's it going? And who's gonna get hurt and all that? You gotta think of these things! It ain't like that! Hey, relax, will you? Relax! I get emotional. It's about tanks, man. You know, you want to have fun? Okay, let's get on to the game. And see here, this is what a situation would look like when you're playing the game. 2 tanks for the person in front of you, 2 tanks for the person in back here, plus all the cards in the middle that drive the game, because this is a card-driven game. And also what's cool with this game is that you get lots of tanks. How many is lots of? What's the matter with you? Lots of. Top left, Russian. That's the red star, the name of the tank, the acquiring symbol, number 2, and These numbers 0 to 9, if you pick a card that says you want to move, and if it's a 7 or lower, then you can move. If it's a 6 or lower, if you want to fire, 6, you move. If you picked a card and you had a 7 to move, well, you don't move. And that's it. And these numbers up here tell you how close you are to the other tank. And if you're that close in the red, you get a +1. And on the tank, you have your personnel. You have your driver, your assistant driver, your gunner, your loader, and your captain. Here it says skilled in action, but no, that's the beginning of the game. You put some chits down there, and you're ready to rock. And if any of these get destroyed, over here, it's what the victory points cost destroying them. And in this field, that's where you put cards that have terrain. You could be in a woods with your hull down on a mountain. And you know, I haven't even started really explaining the game. This is just a short aperçu, but it's a great tank game, and you just have a lot of fun. Maximum 8 players, but I'm sure if you buy other modules, you can 16, you can have 2,000 people. Go on the GMT website and check it out.
A mechanic or a mechanism is what makes the game go. It's what the designers who put the game together are kind of crafting underneath the hood, and it's what you are doing within the game or what the game is doing as you're playing it. So it could be worker placement, set collection, route building, card drafting. Those are different mechanisms or mechanics that could be within the game, and as you're doing set collection or worker placement or something like that, you are playing the game. And so all of those things work together like gears under the hood of a car to make it work. I don't know if cars have gears. The weight of a game is the level of difficulty. It is not the physical mass or amount of gravity pulling on it. It is how difficult it is to wrap your head around, how heavy the experience feels. So a game like The Colonists is an extremely long game. It is also a physically heavy game, but it has a lot of rules, a lot of things to get into. It's going to take it's going to take you a minute to wrap your head around. It takes a lot of energy to play. A game like the Cloud City is a lighter game, also not as physically heavy, but it has few rules. You can get into it very quickly. It has a very mass appeal, that kind of thing. That would be a lighter game, and a medium weight game would kind of fall somewhere in between. That's it.
Hey, I'm Grant with Grant's Game Rex, coming to you from Turn Zero Games in Los Angeles, and today I want to recommend one of my favorite 5-minute games out there, Werewords. This is one of my favorite word games. I don't like word games normally, personally. I think I don't like them because I don't have a great, what's the word when you know a bunch of words?
Vocabulary?
Yeah. I don't have a great vocabulary, so I think that's why I don't like word games normally, but this is one I can get behind. In Werewords, everybody has hidden roles, and you play with an app that gives you a secret word, and it is up to people to try to figure out the secret word by asking the mayor yes or no questions, but the mayor can only answer with these yes or no tokens. Werewords is kind of like playing 20 questions if 20 questions had secret roles and one role was trying to sabotage the line of questioning. This game is super fun, it's quick, and it can play up to 10 people. Plus, the name Werewords makes me think of a bunch of werewolves with a safe word, you know? Peaches! Oh, okay, sorry. Full moon makes me crazy, but I'll respect your personal space.
All right, here we go. Jumping into the news. There's actually a lot of news, although it's kind of a bunch of small news, if that makes sense. But here we go. So first of all, we have a new game from USopoly called Hip Hop Bid to Win Trivia Game. I don't think I would even come close to getting like a point in this game. Unless there's multiple choice. I have a chance then.
Yeah.
I always do C.
Okay, Boomer.
This has nothing to do with being a boomer. This could be any kind of music trivia, and I would not be good at it.
Well, Tom, I mean, you're clearly familiar with Hot Carl. It looks like this game, many of the questions were curated by the former rapper Jensen Karp, who's known by his stage name of Hot Carl. Obviously, you know Hot Carl, right? I mean, come on.
Huh.
So, okay, I'm actually not mocking the game. I hope it's not coming across that way. I'm mocking myself there. I think that I'm always happy to see stuff like this, if only because I think it reaches out to some people who might not normally play games and bring them in. Sure. So I'm glad this exists. I was just saying this is something I don't know anything about.
Yeah, I'm surprised that they're coming out. This seems like the sort of, adaptable system that they will, of course, if this does well, make a, I don't know, country bid to win trivia game. Or whatever, right? And anything. I'm surprised they're only coming out with one out of the gate. And I don't know how they picked the thing. Who knows how they picked it, which is fine. It's as good as anything else. I'm just curious why they wouldn't try a couple. You know what I mean? Do a rock and a hip hop, or a country and a hip hop, or whatever. I just
Well, we'll see if Z is a prophet. We'll see if they come out with the next one. Smooth jazz.
There you go.
All right.
That's an expansion pack.
There's a new award, although it's kind of half award, half grant style thing called the Zenobia Award. There's a lot. You can go look up more information on this. If you go to Dice Tower News, there's a link to it. It's spelled, well, you can see it here on the slide. We know quite a few people involved with this award. Liz, who's one of the reviewers from Dice Tower, Liz Davidson, Jeff Engelstein's involved with this. And so it's a board game award for underrepresented groups focusing on historical games, and it's about historical games. Now, I don't know how strict what's considered a historical game and what's not. But either way, you can go to their website and look at that. It has to be a game that's not published or even being shown to a reviewer. And then you have a chance to get this game published possibly, or at least they're going to help you work. These industry veterans are going to help you work on this game.
Interesting.
It's a neat idea. It's a really neat idea. I mean, it's a nice expression by these people in the industry. It looks like Cole Worley's involved as well. So I think that's great.
Yeah, that's cool. I don't know. I'm reading here what it is about. I don't know what's with the two sort of aspects of the game seem to be a little bit at odds with each other. On the one hand, as Tom said, anyone from a marginalized group may apply, and that's who they are, trying to give more attention to, lift them up, bring them into a hobby that is historically hard to get into. Fantastic. I like that a lot. The other side of that is the game has to tackle a historical subject, political, social, cultural, whatever, military, anything. So I'm like, okay, but what's that accomplishing? How about if instead it was something that made the same push as your first point? Maybe a theme that is culturally positive and forward thinking. You know what I mean? It just seems like you can sort of do two good things.
Sure, but maybe that's the reason for historicalness of it, Z. Maybe like it's about a game about the civil rights movement or something to that effect. Maybe that's kind of where it's geared towards.
Or some
I guess so, but it could also just be about World War II. As they make it sound like it could be about something that isn't necessarily underrepresented.
There's a lot of elements of history that haven't been very well represented either, too. So I mean, if they're going in that direction, where maybe they're exploring elements of the world that maybe don't get typically covered in these historical games, they could do,
right.
Potentially.
I guess both. maybe they're just being. Maybe I'm reading too much into it because it is a vague statement.
Well, sure, but I'm sure we'll find out more. I know a lot of the people on the committee. I have high opinions of many of them. Let me rephrase that. That sounded bad. The people on the committee who I know, I have a high opinion of them.
Well, Tom, look, I didn't want to go too inside baseball here, but since I am the industry insider on the panel, let me give you a little bit of some background business information. You want
to do some name dropping here?
Buckle in, get ready. I've got about 10 minutes. I'm going to give you on the background of
business acumen 101.
Catan Print and Play This is the first Catan, first adventure, which was a really good version of Catan for kids, essentially. So they're making a print and play version of this, and it says you're only using scissors, glue, and light cardboard. And I was thinking, oh man, I'd rather just buy my kids the game.
I'm confused.
I know my
is
kids
light
would love it, but
is light cardboard paper? Is that what that means?
What that means to me is you're taking cereal boxes and you're cutting them up and you're gluing paper on top of them. That's what I picture.
That is what that means, isn't it? They just can't say that.
Mm-hmm.
Is this sponsored by anybody? Oh yeah, Fruit Loops.
okay.
Fruit of the Loom is better.
I almost said Fruit of the Loom. You caught that, huh? Fruit of the Loom.
Yeah, that's right.
That would be great if it was sponsored both by Fruit Loops and Fruit of the Loom. Loops of the Loom.
Let's move on here. Root, surprisingly, has another expansion coming with 2 more factions. I don't know how they can balance all these factions at this point. That must be a lot of work. A turtle faction, defensive turtle faction, and an aggressive rat faction. But of course, this is all, they say, subject to change. Who knows? And it's supposed to improve the 2-player experience. And they may be outstepping my Root because I think there's, 8 factions now, Mike?
Yeah, you had 4 in the core.
4 in the base game and 2 expansions that added 2.
Yes, correct. Yeah. I'm still in. I mean, it is a lot, but what's nice is that depending on player count, it's good to have more options because like in a 3-player game, you're kind of constrained to which factions you can play with. If this gives you an ability to say, well, now you've got 5 different factions you can put viably in a 3-player game, I'm all for it.
In Star Wars Armada news, there's more expansion coming for Fantasy Flight Games until they give it away to the other company. They're adding the Galactic Republic starter set, a new faction. There's a cooperative nature in the set, and you can have Obi-Wan Kenobi run your fleet. I didn't know Obi-Wan Kenobi ran fleets, but I thought he was more of an army leader, but who knows?
Yeah.
He's got a diversified portfolio.
Yeah, probably.
Is Armada really like the last of these that are still going? Because X-Wing's not being supported anymore, right?
No, X-Wing's still out. X-Wing and Armada are still being supported. X-Wing, Armada, and Legion are the 3 that are being supported still.
Okay.
X-Wing's the moneymaker, man.
Yeah.
From what I can tell,
I must have been thinking Imperial Assault is probably what I was getting confused by.
That one's done. Yes.
Yeah. So you had your Fruit of the Loom moment. There you go.
That's right.
Iki, a game of Edo Artisans, is being remade. There's a Kickstarter campaign. It's being done by Sorry We Are French. I actually have never seen the original game. Have you, Z?
I've seen the cover. I had never seen the game in person.
Same here.
That new cover is great. I really like the font. I like how it just looks.
Yeah.
So this is a fish market, and you're doing different jobs and vendors and stuff. I don't know a whole lot about it other than that, but I like Sorry We Are French, and I like how it looks. So I'm kind of in for this when it comes out later next year.
Yeah, this is a trend we've been seeing where games that are maybe a little under the radar, they're making them bigger and more bright and vibrant. I'm all for it.
And it's been a good year. 2020 has been a solid year for mid to heavyweight Euro games. This is more in that lane. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Now we have another amazing cover here. Momiji. I think that's how you pronounce it.
Momiji, probably.
This is also another.
Is what I would say. Yeah.
Momiji, another Kickstarter game that's coming out in Q3 of 2021, collecting leaves and completing objectives. Just very pretty looking game. Yeah. I've noticed that we're really doing a lot of shifting to nature themes. Is this the wingspan effect? I don't know, but I'm okay with it.
Yeah, it's beautiful. I mean, I like the look of it. I don't know anything about the game itself other than it seems like it seems pretty light, but it looks nice.
Yeah, this game speaks to me, definitely. This seems like my speed, and it is gorgeous.
Yeah.
All right, the next one, we're going to now talk about a bunch of things coming from Boards and Dice. The next one I'm pretty pumped about, and that's Mandala Stones. The designer of this, Philip Glauwax, what else has he done? He's done something.
I know he's been part of Board and Dice. It might be his first design. I think he's been involved with the company, but I don't know if he was involved in a designer level. I may be wrong.
I'll find it out. He did Dice Brewing, Beer Empire. Oh, he's done 15 different games.
Then I'm completely wrong.
All right. Well, none of them have taken off.
He is one of the co-founders, though. That is true. He is one of the co-founders.
Okay.
Well, either way, this is an abstract strategy style game, but it looks really pretty. There's 96 stones. There's a chance we'll be playing this one live on the channel before the year is over, but I'm pretty pumped about this one. Looks great.
Yeah, it does.
Yes.
Then we have also from these folks Dark Ages and two versions of Dark Ages. Dark Ages Holy Roman Empire and Dark Ages Heritage of Charlemagne. These are 4X style Euro games. And these can be combined for 5 or more players, which I don't recommend.
Yeah, we don't really know. I remember us talking about this when it was on Kickstarter, actually.
Yep.
And we were floored by how much was in there. I remember that. I remember thinking, "Wow, they are, just throwing everything at the wall here with the amount of content." Any other company would come out with one of these, and then maybe down the road, if it does well, come out with the other one. They are coming out with both. They can be combined. It seems I don't use the word epic as much as Roy does. Certainly not as much as Mark Street does. This seems epic.
It does. Maybe audacious. Huh?
All right, calm down.
Then we have expansion period. A new the third expansion for this game.
No, you mispronounced it, Tom. It's Teotihuacan expansion period. This is the last one.
I'm actually surprised about this because I know the first expansion people enjoyed. The second one just came out this year. This game feels like there's so much content just in the base game.
Yeah, right. And a lot of variability in the base game too.
How much you want to bet next year we see a big box version?
Ooh. Yeah.
Will it be in a pyramid box? A pyramid box, Tom? That's the next big wave in gaming is pyramid box.
And they'll sell it to you in a pyramid scheme. That could work.
All right. Well, since we're on a pyramid theming here, I'm actually pretty pumped about this next cover again. Yeah. This is a day for covers, and that is Origins First Builders. That cover's great. That makes me want to play the game.
Yep.
It is, you are a powerful and ancient spacefaring race that visits Earth. It has nothing to do with us. What's that? Stargate.
Oh.
But anyway, you're growing a city, and you have these 2 buildings, and you're growing a city, and you're visiting encounter sites to get workers, to get resources, attack, and grow, etc. I like the theme of this a lot. It's weird that the alien thing isn't really alluded to on the cover much.
Right.
Not much.
I mean, that pyramid is clearly some sort of spaceship, but
right.
And the trees have some levitating technology, so it's subtle. Maybe it is. Maybe that's cool. I don't know. Either way, of all the games they're announcing, this is the one I'm most interested in.
Yeah, this is cool looking.
Got a solo mode included. It says it
Hello.
right there. Oh.
Check, please.
There
I'm excited about this. I think I was saying this to Tom. I think this might be the same designer as Nemesis. Not positive, but I think it is.
Hit him with the knowledge, Tom. Hit him with the knowledge hammer. How dare you ask a question we can now look up the answer to? It's the future.
I am audacious.
No longer. Do you guys still recall having discussions with people that would last halves of hours where you could have just nowadays it just doesn't happen. You just go like, I'll Google it.
This is that guy from that other movie. And I'd be like, no, he was not in that movie. Yes, he was. No, he wasn't.
I kind of missed that. I got to tell you.
I do too.
Anyway,
yes, this guy designed Nemesis, Lords of Hellas, and In Between, that little game that Sam liked. But Lords of Hellas, he's got me there. So.
Yeah, this is
very nice.
I'm very excited about this.
All right, then from same company, we got Zapotec, who just also designed, the designer of this just designed a very popular game right now called Merv, which I'm hoping to play tomorrow. This one has a cool cover, although the font makes me think that it's a game that already exists, if only because that looks similar to other board game titles with that font.
Yeah, it does.
Sure.
It's kind of that Mesoamerican font. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, this looks cool.
Yeah, it does.
I assume it's going to be a very, very dry Euro game. I can tell you that from having played Merv, which I very much enjoyed. But yes, it is that kind of game where you walk away feeling like that was fun. That was a good mental exercise, engaging. I need a glass of water though. Yeah, that's kind of what this is.
That's right.
I have to say, with this slate of games, NSKN is so high on my. I remember
Board and
that
Dice.
I was not Board and Dice, which was at NSKN. Sorry,
right.
But I remember both these companies before they merged. I thought were okay. Now, I really look forward to almost everything they do. I'm super pumped about it. I say all that because now we're talking about Trismegistus, the roll and write game, which I can tell you I have negative interest in. Because the thing about Trismegistus, which I think is a good game, the thing I disliked the most about it was how confusing the dice were. So they were like, hey, let's use those confusing dice and make it into a roll and write game. Woo!
I love it.
Yeah, this is a print and play, though. I mean, this is not something that's going to be released on a regular retail basis. This is something they've been doing. I guess this is actually, they're calling it part of season 2, where they take their big box games and they release a print and play roll and write version of it that you can just do on your own. And I think when you buy access to a season, it's a number of different games. So I think they had roll and writes for Tekkenu already in season 1 and a couple of their other games, and they've already said what all of the games of this season are going to be. So it's an interesting idea.
What? It sounds like when you subscribe to a video game, whatever that's called, season pack or season pass or whatever.
Right.
Yeah, that's a weird one. That's never. I haven't heard of any other company using a season pass sort of money gathering technique. That's interesting.
Yeah,
but I agree with you, Tom, about the company themselves. Man, they are, if you are into heavy Euro games, they have got to be on your map. They are just bringing it,
they are.
They're up there with like Capstone putting out that kind of game. These guys are just prolific.
I would go so far as to say that the trilogy of Euro gamers right now, if you're a heavy Euro gamer, then you want Capstone and Board and Dice, and then probably the Vitel Lacerda stuff from Eagle Griffin.
Yeah.
You do that, and you're probably set. With the occasional gift from what's that little company that makes those complex games?
From Phil Lackland?
No, not him. That's a different category, Z.
You don't mean like Osprey or...
Oh, no, Osprey's kind of in a different spot. Osprey's more where I'm at. I like that stuff. Yeah. All right, anyway. Okay, so Brass Birmingham has won the 2020 Gra Roku Award, which is Poland's Game of the Year. Now, realize, of course, you might say, well, that came out a couple years ago. Sure, but different games are released different times in different countries. So
that's the Polish version, yeah.
Their best family game was Quest for El Dorado, advanced game Brass Birmingham, children's game Zombie Kids Evolution, thematic game Nemesis, two-player game Carcassonne the Castle. That's quite an old game.
Wow.
Party game Sushi Go Party.
They rode that game over there.
Yeah.
That's a long time. That's a decade old, I think.
Isn't it already basically language independent too?
Yeah, yes. I don't know. Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sushi Go Party, expansion Chronicles of Crime Noir. Cool. The nicest game, I like that category a lot, actually.
Yeah.
Everdell. Author of the Year, Adam Kwapinski, who we just talked about.
Yeah.
Debut of the Year is Magdalena Sowinska for Minerals. I don't believe I played that game.
I don't think so. Interesting.
Debut of the Year is a good award. I like to see stuff like that out.
Some solid games.
Yeah.
All right, then we have a game called Meeple BR, a company, Meeple BR. Then the game is Luna Maris. This is a 1 to 4 player game, and the cover looks okay, but I'm like astounded by how much I like these cards. I never wanted to eat vegetables so much.
There were a couple. They do. There were a couple of games from this company that you talked about on the last news cycle. So it's interesting. I believe it's a Brazilian company. I mean, it's cool that we're seeing games coming from different parts of the world. I mean, this looks spectacular just on the aesthetic of it.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's beautiful looking, and I agree with you, Tom. Those cards, those are tasty. Those are tasty cards, man. I love
Literally,
that aesthetic.
they're edible. They're literally tasty cards.
They are. They are.
Mhm.
From a 3D printer that prints
unfortunately,
food.
I'm going to go to the opposite extreme on the next game, Graffito.
Mhm.
I've been talking about great covers, folks. I have two main problems with this cover. One, they use paint to put a block of a wall on repeat on the cover. Secondly, if there's a game about graffiti, why on earth would you not put the title in actual graffiti? That's a
Seems
font.
like a missed opportunity. Yeah, it seems like a missed opportunity.
I hope that's a placeholder cover. To be honest, I really hope so.
Yeah,
That's terrible. That doesn't look finished. I can't imagine that this company thinks that cover's done.
the thing is,
see.
it's one of those. It's one of those
they could
op
go out
art
and
things.
find a wall and take a picture of it.
Yeah.
This is one of those op art things. If you stare through it long enough, there's actually a good cover hidden in there.
That's
You have to really get it at the
fantastic.
right
You gotta
angle.
bring it up nice and close, cross your eyes, start pulling it back, and you're like, whoa.
Right. Yeah, there is a good cover.
Now-
It's just hidden in there.
There is a rondelle method here where you're actually
Or rondelle.
scratching LPs, records. That's kind of a weird concept,
That's
but I
right.
do like the theming of this. I just hope that this is not final look.
Cool.
I'm betting it's not. I mean, we're the game play that we're seeing here is obviously on some type of a tabletop simulator. I'm betting this still has a ways to go.
Yeah.
Second half of 2021, it says so.
So Renegade made a RPG, a light RPG style game called Kids on Bikes. Fairly popular. I've not played it. Definitely comes from the idea of the different Stranger Things in that universe. And now there's a board game called the Snallygaster Situation based on that. Jonathan Gilmore and Doug Lewandowski are doing this. I'm sure it's cool. It's a co-op game. I can't tell you more about it because I don't know a lot about Kids on Bikes other than it's based on the Stranger Things stuff.
Yeah.
The cover says Michael Addison, so I'm not sure which of those two pieces of information is correct, but
that's true.
I'll put that
Maybe it
out
is
there
Michael
just
Addison.
in case.
I said I'm sorry. I'm sorry, I said it wrong. Doug Lewandowski is the RPG designer. Michael Addison is the board game designer.
I see.
Got it.
I see.
Makes sense.
All right. Thanks for
I mean,
catching.
it's a neat look. I mean, I was somewhat aware of this Kids on Bikes RPG when I worked at a game store. I did have some parents that were buying it for their kids. So I mean, there's a market out there for it.
Yeah. Again, it's got a good aesthetic.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the most important, best, well-designed, and influential award in the business, the Origins Awards. So they made some changes for the 2020-2021 cycle. And we say that because they go from November to November. Anyhow, they basically broke board games have been in the past. They've done board game family, and card game, and then historical, because the Origins Awards were originally just a whole pile of war game awards, and they will keep historical will be in there until the last wargamer dies. That's just going to be there. So now they got family, general, historical, party light, and strategy heavy. I'm actually curious what goes in general.
Isn't it obvious?
Because if it's not, well, if it's not family and it's not strategy heavy, what is it?
It's general games, Tom. Let's move on from this. No, it doesn't make any sense. I agree with you.
But there's only one completely new category, right?
Yeah, I don't think that's how I spell miscellaneous, but yeah, that's basically
no,
like,
it's a weird thing. I can't grasp what would go in there. And I do remember that when I was on the awards committee, we would argue sometimes with a game would come in. So, for example, when Mage Wars came in, was it a card game? Was it a board game? Or was even the miniatures category, they had wanted it because it said you were moving the stuff around the map.
Yeah.
And now with this category, so a game comes out. So, you know, we talk about Merv. Okay, which category does Merv fit into?
strategy heavy, but that one's easier. But I agree with you. Like, what's the line? It's the line. The problem with the line is between family and general. What is that?
Right.
I think the problem is
the card game thing. They need to get rid of that. They need to just say board/card game for all of these.
Right.
Yeah, that's a good move for sure. And then
a card game, probably, but it doesn't feel like one.
Right.
I don't know.
No, I hear you. I understand what you're saying. I agree. It's being workshopped, right? That's good. They're working on this.
Right.
Forward movement or movement. I'm not gonna say forward movement. I think this is forward movement, but just movement in general is good to not keep these things from stagnating. So kudos to them for
I agree
continuing.
and I'm glad they added the app version of this.
That's good.
And then they got miniature games, historical, 3 categories for role playing, and game accessory. So there's 14 categories. There was 10 last year. We'll see what happens. I don't know. Maybe we'll briefly talk about this next week when Boddicker comes on so he can defend it. But again, like Z said, change is better than just sitting there resting on their non-existent laurels.
And there you are.
All righty. Well, let's get to some more contributors, then come back to watch me whoop on Mike.
No.
This is a segment where we take a look at a board game based on an IP, and I tell you if the IP and the mechanisms match. Today we're using the intellectual property of Santa Claus, and we're using him to build gifts and give them to children. Setup's pretty easy. You're going to take the 4 kids out and 4 toys. Each kid's going to be assigned to a toy. You get 4 cards from the part deck. Each player does. Then you're ready to go. On a turn, you can take one of your cards and you can offer it to another player. Say, I'd like to give up a gizmo to get a wood. If somebody does that, then you would just exchange the cards and you're done. Or you could take a card from your hand, discard it, and draw the top card from the deck. So one or the other. Trade with somebody else or trade with the bank. That's an option you have. The second thing you do is you can build a toy. So if I had the wood and the paint, for example, I give up the wood and the paint. I would discard these cards, and I would take Alexander and the rocking horse. That's going to score me 2 + 2 is 4 at the end of the game. Then you would put a new card and a new toy out. Then you would take the tracker here that's on 0 because we just started, and you'd move it up to 1, signifying 1 toy has been made. When you're playing a short game, 10 or 20 in a long game, then the game ends. You count up how many points you have. Whoever has the most points is your winner. That's kind of how you play the game. And the IP works really well. The idea that you're playing as these elves and you're collecting the parts and you're giving those parts up to the toys works perfectly. It's a great introduction to resources and resource management, and giving up resources to build this thing that gives you victory points. That's in a lot of games. They keep it simple for families. I would say even if you don't celebrate Christmas, this game works because you could just be making toys to give to children, good kids, bad kids, underprivileged children, etc. That all works in here however you want to spin it. You can just cross out Santa on the box if you want to. But it does have a wide variety. It's going to be strictly for families. And if you do celebrate Christmas and Santa Claus, I think that this will be upper echelon for you. Very, 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 very good Christmas-themed game. One of the best I've ever played, but for families. Absolute keeper for us.
Hey everyone, it's Clara, and this week I'm actually going to talk about a board game that I have played, but I've only played the digital implementation, and I'm curious whether that is the same as playing the physical version. So today I'm going to talk about the game Tzolkin, which is a worker placement game, and it was a game high up on my list of games I want to try, but hadn't been able to, and so when the current climate hit, I started making use of the fantastic website Board Game Arena, where they've got a really good implementation of Tzolkin, and I was able to try it for the first time. So Tzolkin's a worker placement, and you, as usual, you put your workers out, and on each turn you either put a worker out or workers out or take workers in to gain resources. But what is interesting about this is that there's certain spots on the board where if you leave your worker out over multiple turns, you get different rewards, different or upgraded resources. And it's not very often you see this idea that, you know, you want to leave your worker out, but it means that you've got less workers to place in other places. It's a really interesting conundrum. It's such an interesting game. And my first degree was engineering, so I love the fact that you've got this big central cog in the middle of the board, and you've got 4 cogs that are attached to that. And so on the physical version, you're moving this cog, and that's what's moving your worker around. It's beautiful to see, but I've never seen it in real life. Now, I can imagine that the app is really useful and neat in that, well, A, I can play it digitally, but B, you don't have to worry about the setup or the takedown. But I feel like this is a game that I really want that tactile feel, and I'm curious whether, it's the same playing it online, and I wondered what people's thoughts were. And so with that, until next time, bye!
Hello, and welcome back to Retro Board Game Corner. Here I have the A-Team, published in 1984 by Parker Brothers. This is a 2 to 4 player game in which you're trying to find the secret formula. Included in this game is a color photo of BA, portrayed by Mr. T. Let me set this up and show you how it works. This is what the game board will look like set up. Everybody's going to pick a pawn, and it's going to start here on the outside of the fortress. Everybody's going to get dealt a hand of 3 cards. On every turn, you will do 2 things. You will roll 1 dice to move your pawn and or play a card. As you're making your way around the board, you're just going to follow the printed instructions on the board. Now, if another player lands on the same space that you're on, you're each going to roll a 6-sided die, and whoever has the higher value is going to move ahead the difference of the 2 dice. Also, once per turn, you can go ahead and play one of your 3 cards. Whenever you play it, you just play it down and then do whatever it says, and then you can go ahead and refill your hand back up to 3 cards. As you make your way around the fortress, you're going to come here to the vault. Now, whoever gets there first will take this top secret information and stick it right here in his pawn. Now, once the player has the secret formula, he'll start making his way back to the start space. The other players can steal the secret formula, but first, they too have to make it to the vault, again, not by exact count, and then try to land on the same space as the person with the top secret formula. And again, you'll do that battle where you'll both roll a 6-sided die, and then the higher value will then take and steal the secret formula, and then move away the difference of the 2 dice. The first person to make it all the way back to the start with the secret formula will win the game. The A-Team ran from 1983 to 1987 with a reboot movie in 2010. In this version, Mr. T plays a soldier of fortune, but in the Mr. T cartoon series, he played the captain of a gymnastics team. Well, as promised, here's the picture of Mr. T. I pity the fool. Well, that's all the time I have for now. If you have a comment below, or you can tweet with me at Retro Board Gamer. And as always, may your rolls be high.
Welcome to Survey Says, where we survey you listeners and discuss the results. We're the Board Game Weekenders. I'm Steven.
And I'm Colby. In this week's episode, we asked, in what season do you play board games the most?
Looking at the results, we can see that pretty equally across all seasons, with the highest with 19. To me, that's not really surprising, especially since we're polling kind of heavy gamers that are into the hobby, that are gaming year round, you know what I mean? So I think, most people kind of fall into that category once you're so involved in the hobby.
Yeah, I mean, and it's no surprise that winter is taking second place, especially for those of us up north.
Yeah, you're right.
Don't get 365 days of sun.
Yeah.
For me personally, I would actually say summer is probably when I play board games the most. As a teacher, I have my summers off, and you being a teacher, so we get together a lot over summer. We play board games all the time over summer.
Now, even with obviously conventions being tough this year, but normally these kind of big conventions also kind of have spikes, with Gen Con in the summer, fall, you have Essen in Europe. So like that kind of keeps things going, throughout the year as well. Thanks for checking out this week's episode. Let us know your thoughts on the results in the comments below.
Look out for next week's survey on Twitter at BG Weekenders, and make sure to tune in to the next episode of Survey Says.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to 10 for 10. I'm going to be pitting these two hooligans up against each other today for the chance at the title shot. Here we go, guys. You are going to be racing to 15 points. I have a top 10 list here among a few other pieces of paper that don't belong in that top 10. What is the topic? Top funding Come On games on Kickstarter. It is possible. It is possible I've actually used this data before. I don't recall, but I don't care. Wow. You're not gonna remember. I'm not gonna remember. So now I will restate the rules very briefly here. I'm gonna pull one out. You're going to vote on whether yes, it is in the top 10 funding games from them, or no. If you are correct, you get a point. And then if it is indeed one of those top 10, whoever has the fewest points at that moment will decide whether they want to keep it or give it to their opponent. You are racing to 15 points. The only reason you would give something away, of course, is because whoever has the fewest points at any given moment is the one who decides where the next hit from the top 10 goes. All right? So you're trying to leapfrog the other guy and make it to 15 yourself. Or you can just slowly get there by getting 15 of these guesses right. Okay? There we go, ladies and gentlemen. I believe you have, each of you, a little card that has a yes and a no on it. Yes? Tom is making notes over there. I'm not sure I approve of the usage of aids, of pen and pencil.
Yeah, I'm writing down just some ideas I have. I'm not using any information other than my own brain.
I don't think this is allowed. I would have told you if you had access to visual or writing aids.
Is Tom playing fair?
Here we go.
By writing stuff down?
Okay, so Mike gets a point to begin with.
I just feel good. Tom is obviously threatened by my superior come on intellect. So that's fine. Tom, you take all the notes you need. You do what you do.
Here we go, guys. The scoring for the top 10, the extra points you'll get from that are 6 points at the very top. The number one answer, 6 points. The one that's made the most money, 5, 4, 3, 2. And then the bottom 5 are simply 1 point each.
And you have 20 total?
As far as you know, I do.
Okay.
All right.
Here we go. Cthulhu Death May Die. You will both simultaneously select whether it's yes, that means top 10, or no, not top 10. Fellas, let's see.
I'm ready.
What do we got? Okay.
Oh.
Mike DeLisio says no. Tom Vassell says yes. Mr. DeLisio is correct. This is not in the top 10. Mike, you break out to an early lead with a point over Tom. This made $2.41 million on Kickstarter.
Wow.
I thought it was like 10 or 9, but
I knew it was right on the edge. Right on the edge.
That's pretty good when you have a $2 million project that it's not in your top 10.
Right? Yeah, that's crazy.
Absolutely. All right, here we go. Zombicide Invader. Zombicide Invader.
Oh my word.
Yes or no, fellows?
Tell me when.
Let's see it.
Yes again.
Yes, you are both saying yes. This time you are both correct. You're both going to get a point. And it is Tom who has a single point and Mike's 2 points, who gets to decide whether he wants to keep Zombicide Invader here or give it to Mike.
I'll give it to Mike.
I'll take it.
You're going to give it to Mike. Mike, this is number 8. It is worth 1 point.
That's about what I was expecting.
Can you tell us the money or no?
Yeah, sure. $3.35 million.
Wow, that's number 8. That's crazy. Oh my word, these guys are great at Kickstarter.
They are. It's
there
incredible.
you go, guys. Mike right now has 3 points to Tom's 1. Next up, we've got hate.
I'm ready.
Let's see it. You are both, of course, correct. 1 point for Tom, 1 point for Mike.
I'll make a wild guess that may be the lowest one. But I don't know how far down Z went.
Would you like to know how much it made?
Yeah.
1.47 million.
That's garbage.
It did terribly. $1 million.
This is what I love about Command Projects. They'll run one and we'll be making like $1.5 million. Someone's like, this is garbage. This company is terrible.
1.4. That's
Yeah,
embarrassing.
I'm
embarrassed
really not
for
doing
them.
well. Yeah. All right, next up, Blood Rage. Blood Rage. Let's see him.
This is the original.
Yeah, Blood Rage original. Blood Rage. Go ahead.
I said yes. I'm sorry.
Okay. Blood Rage, the original Blood Rage, yes. Mike is correct. This was not in their top 10. This didn't break $1 million, in fact.
Right. I thought that was the case.
This made $905,000. So
Oh,
Mike,
sorry.
you got another point.
I was going by the amount it's made in total, which I'm assuming is
a lot.
I don't know.
A lot more than the other ones, probably, but
yeah.
That is not the game, Tom. Are you in full control of your faculties right now?
Hey man, I'm just controlling the game is what I'm doing.
He's doing. He's playing the slow con here.
You're controlling it very well, Tom. You have 2 points. Mike has 5.
Okay.
Here we go. Next up, we have Massive Darkness. Massive Darkness.
1.
Correct. I would have specified otherwise. Just like
Shut up.
Blood Rage when you messed up. What do you got, Tom? You ready?
I'm not ready. Hang on.
He's nervous, Mike. Can you feel how nervous he is?
Oh,
I
I
am,
got him
I
on
am,
the
I am.
rope.
Go ahead.
Radiating.
Here we go. Hit it. Okay. Tom, you're saying no. Mike is saying yes. That's another uppercut. Mike, that's a point. It is indeed in the top 10. Now, here's the thing, Tom. Where in the top 10 would you
I'm
like
giving it to Mike again.
You're giving it to Mike
I'm happy.
again. Very well.
This is like 3 or 4.
This is number 6, actually, Mike. So still only 1
man.
point, Mike.
All right.
You're
Well,
at
you played that well, Tom. You played that well.
You are at 7, Mike.
Give me the cheap one. All right.
I think he's,
Mike's gonna win by single points, and then I'll be like, "Oh yeah, my strategy worked."
Here's the thing, Tom. You are flirting with disaster here because if the next few are simply not in the top 10, you don't have a chance to take one. He could just limp the way there.
I know. You don't need to explain it to me.
Let me run it by you one more time, okay? Here we go, guys. Next up, Trudvang Legends. Trudvang Legends. Think about it. Yes. Okay, let's see him. Mike, Tom is saying no. Mike is saying yes. Well, how the fortunes have changed. This is indeed not in the top 10.
Okay.
That's 1 point for Tom. I guess the pep talk worked.
Thank you for yelling at me, Dad. Now I'll do better and get to the football college that you went to.
That's right. Okay, you're gonna make me proud. This made $1.49 million.
Wow. Okay.
Here we go. Starcadia Quest. Starcadia Quest. Right now we are at 3 points for Tom, 7 points for Mike. Okay, let's see him. You are both saying yes. You are both incorrect, actually.
Wow.
Did not break $1 million. This made $936,000.
Man, okay. I thought it
Made
did better.
only $36,000. That project's garbage, and we'll never speak of it again.
I'm surprised they actually produced it, to tell you the truth.
These are all Wikipedia numbers, by the way. If they're wrong, shut up. Actually, you know what? If they are wrong, go donate to Wikipedia.
That's right.
They're asking for
Does
money.
Wikipedia want a donation? I can't tell when I open up on my phone.
Listen. Don't scroll. Don't scroll away. Come back now.
Please.
That's what that seems like. All right, here we go. Next up, The Others, 7 Sins.
This was
the best game that Come On has ever put out. There, I said it.
I'm ready.
Okay, let's see. You are both saying no. You're both indeed correct. 4 points for Tom, 8 points for Mike. This was
one of their first games.
Yeah.
This was early, certainly early. 1.46 million after Blood Rage, so it made more money than that. You know, they were getting more money at that point. But yeah, this was not necessarily a big hit.
Right.
If you can say that about 1.4 million. All right, guys. Next up, we have got here Ankh, one of their more recent games.
All right.
Here we go. Let's see him. Yes, of course. Tom, 5 points. Mike, 9 points. Tom, would you like it, or would you like to give it to Mike?
No, I'm obviously taking everything at this point, so I'll take it.
Yeah, you got to keep that one.
This is number 9 with 3.32 million at this point.
Yeah, but even getting an extra point here helped me close in.
Right,
what I don't want is to take like the number 3 to put me 1 point ahead of Mike.
Correct.
That is right.
Unless, of course, we get a bunch of not top 10s, and I'll win that way.
Right.
Menzie, I like the scoring for this game a lot.
I do too.
Good. All right, gentlemen, next up. Zombicide Green Horde. Zombicide Green Horde. Okay, let's see him. You're both saying yes. You are both indeed correct. We are now at 7 points for Tom, 10 points for Mike. Tom, would you like it, or would you like to give it to Mike?
This is going to do exactly what we just said, I think. I'm definitely taking it, but because I have to. I can't give it to Mike. He'll win the game.
Right.
Give it to me. What do I get?
Right. This is the number 1 answer, Tom. This is 6 points. This made
It's number 1?
This made $5 million. Wow. And like a little bit over that, it's like $5.004 million. So it is 6 points. That brings you up to 13, Tom.
Woo. That's the power of orcs. And
wow.
Oh no. Oh no.
Mike is at 10. Hey Tom, you get 2 more of these right, and if they're not in the top 10, you win, man.
Right. That's right.
I know.
Here we go. Arcadia Quest Inferno. Arcadia Quest Inferno.
Man, really?
Shut up, Mike. Play by the rules. You said you like the scoring system.
I do, but this is a really tough one. All right, I'm gonna go with my gut on that.
Okay, let's see it. Tom is saying no. Mike is saying yes. Tom, you're at 14, baby.
Oh, I thought it might be.
No. That did not make the arcade. None of the Arcadia quests did that well.
Yeah. 1.71 million, which is garbage.
I'm sorry.
Right.
We keep saying this.
Right. All right, give me number 2 here, Z. Give me number 2.
Here we go. Project Elite. Project Elite.
I think Tom's got this one.
Okay, let's see it. You are both saying no. Mike, I'm sorry to say, my friend, that is correct.
Yeah.
Project Elite
I
did
got
not
lucky
do
there.
well at all. Actually, it made 634,000 by their standard. It's not quite. That's not really much. That was one of the lowest ones. But
You couldn't have pulled Rising Sun out of there, Z? Come on now.
Actually, he only pulled one of the zombie sides out too.
I know. Anything with zombie side would have been a yes.
Yeah, any zombie side was a yes for me too.
Yeah.
Zombicide. Well, let's see what I didn't talk about here. Marvel United would have been your number 10. That's a point.
Mm-hmm.
And then I've got, what else is in here? Massive Darkness 2 Hellscape would have been the number 5. That's 2 points.
Yeah, that one did better than the first one. I knew that.
It did. You've got Zombicide Black Plague.
That's
would have
3?
been 4. Would have been 4 points. That's your number 3. That's right.
Yep.
4 points. I still wouldn't have done it, Mike, if you got that one. You needed specifically the 2. That's the problem.
Right.
You know, which is
Rising Sun the 2?
It is Rising Sun.
Rising Sun,
4.2 million, 5 points. That would have done.
I was hoping for you to pull Rising Sun there. Yeah.
But yeah, that was a long shot. That was definitely a long shot.
Where did Zombicide 2 land in this one?
Zombicide 2nd edition?
Yeah. Is that number 5?
That is 7. Number 7 right here, 1 point.
Oh, okay. Cool. That was a nail biter, though, Mike.
That was close. It was a close one. You're right. There's almost this element of not wanting to necessarily answer correctly early on, so it's hard.
Yeah, you want a close second, right?
Yep.
All right.
Good stuff.
All righty, folks. We got some more contributors. Here we go.
Brandy, Dylan, we game together.
Can we play now?
Yes.
Hi guys, I'm Randy.
I'm Ellen. It's been a while.
It's been quite some time.
It's been a hot minute.
Gosh, so busy.
Yeah.
It's our busiest time of year for photography and everything. So much going on. We probably could have carved some time out. Maybe should have.
Yeah, no.
But the end result was we didn't.
The end result was that we did not.
But we are going to keep continuing on with our series from earlier for a little bit longer here. I don't know, maybe till the end of this game, that year of buying stuff, which is 2015.
Yes.
So we're talking the games that got us into the hobby, which is kind of turning into the games that we bought in the first year.
Games. Yeah, right? Just like what games we bought when.
So to intro all that back, because we've been gone for so long, we are talking about Code Names.
Forgot who we are.
Which we purchased on 8/15/50. Now, technically, this was a pre-order. I don't know when we physically got the game, but 8/15/15, Code Names. This is a great game. It's still a great game.
Continue to love
all
it.
sorts of different versions of it. Pictures, there's themed versions now, there's duet. Get any of them, they're all good.
They're all great. I love word games so much. This one
Yeah, so you have
is always fun.
like two teams, and you're trying to get them to guess words, but your words. So there's a grid of cards. You're trying to get them to guess your words, and there's other words that are the other teams. If they guess those, they're that much closer to victory. And there's that one card, the assassin card. You give clues that include that one on accident or not realizing it. Somebody guesses that, you're automatically out of the game.
Yeah.
Second one we're going to talk about today is Ghost Blitz. We bought this on 9/2/15.
You are a beast with this one. This is a deck of cards. You flip over the card, and there's 5 objects. So you have like a mouse and a ghost, a bottle, a chair, and a book.
Yep.
And they're all on the table. You flip over the card. Whatever thing is missing,
not represented by either the picture
I can't
or
even
the
say
color.
it. The guy gets so
like,
jumbled.
It'll be like different colors of a chair and a bottle, but whichever one's not there, like gray and a mouse. So then you know it's the gray mouse. Or if it's the exact picture.
It's
so
like real-time deduction.
Right, and if it is the green bottle on the card, you have to grab that.
And so hands are just like, it's like a vicious spoons.
Yeah, I love this game a ton.
Me out,
it's
dude.
still a fantastic game. If you have any desire to play something like a spoons type game, a quick reaction type game, this one is one of my all-time favorites.
He's really good at it. It's scary.
All right, guys, thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next week.
Bye.
Hey there, everyone. It's Jen, the board game librarian, flipping some pages and pushing some cubes with my segment from the page to the table. We're back! So again, I have my husband Matt with me here today for reinforcement because once again, I said last week I have not read Pillars of the Earth. I also have not read World Without End. So, what's World Without End about, Matt?
Well, just like its predecessor, there's a lot of building. There's the building of a bridge. There's other things that get built throughout. And to be honest, a lot of the book is very similar to the first one, with the exception of one thing. And I would say that the imagery Ken Follett does with showcasing how the plague affected, I believe it's 13th century England, especially in this community, was one of the things that really kind of stuck with me.
Okay.
Even as the book came to a close and we were, building, I think they're building the spire of the church even at the end, which is interesting because you build the bridge at the beginning of the game, and I believe the spire comes in towards the end of the game. And
sure,
one of the neat things about this is I mentioned that the imagery of the plague really stuck with me. For those who've played World Without End, halfway through the game, the plague hits, and you have to actually deal with it. So once again, another fine way that the board game has integrated the theming of the book.
So I mentioned last week the Pillars of the Earth game was a Grail game for me. I think we had this one first.
We did.
Correct?
Yeah.
And I like this game better than... I like World Without the End game better than Pillars better. I think it's the Plague part that I like.
I thought you liked the thing where you swished the card around and you got certain
I do.
whoever's sitting on which end the card is pointing to is the resource they get.
I like the card.
It was neat.
Happy breakfast.
See you next time.
Hi everyone, it's Lexi from All Aboard Gamer, and it's time for another episode of Perfect Pairings. Today we're making shepherd's pie, so come along and I'll show you how it's done. Okay, so our pan is preheating. We're going to add 2 tablespoons of olive oil, and then we have about 1 small or medium-sized onion chopped. Cook it for a few minutes until it's translucent. Okay, once the onions are translucent, we're going to add, it calls for ground beef or lamb, about 1 pound. Lean. For seasonings, we have 2 teaspoons of parsley, 1 teaspoon of thyme, and 1 teaspoon of rosemary. It's almost browned completely, so at this point I'm going to add in 2 tablespoons of minced garlic and 2 tablespoons of Worcestershire sauce. Okay, after that's cooked for a minute, we're going to add 2 tablespoons of tomato paste and then 2 tablespoons of all-purpose flour. Okay, so before the veggies go in, we'll add a cup of beef broth. Okay, so now the veggies go in. And we're going to cover this with the mashed potatoes as our crust and put it in an oven. We have it set for 400 degrees Fahrenheit, 204 degrees Celsius. In the oven for 25 to 30 minutes. And we think it pairs well with Imperial Settlers, Empires of the North.
It is Empires of the North, Imperial Settlers, Empires of the North to be exact. Now, we do like empires that tend to hang out in the North. We like Raiders of the North Sea. In fact, at one point you called this Empires of the North Sea, and I said we're mixing our games up because we like Raiders of the North Sea too. All right, so that's going to do it for this Dice Tower edition of Perfect Pairings. If you want to see the full episode, head over to our channel. The links will be somewhere down here at the bottom. And we thank you very much for watching, and thanks for coming. All aboard.
Enjoy your breakfast.
That's it, folks, for another board game breakfast. Thank you to everyone who helped with this, to all our contributors, to Z and Roy and Mike for putting this together, and for, I don't know, Bonagor for not showing up. Made this a better breakfast.
That's so messed up. That is so mean. I know you.
Wow.
Come on, Tom. I know you won the game. Now you're just gloating.
Man.
Hey, he'll be back next week. We are going to be moving Mondays. They won't always be live, but they'll be live once in a while. So this coming Monday, Board Game Breakfast will be live. So come watch that. And let me see what else we got. We got videos coming up. We're doing a 4-way review of Santorini, New York tomorrow. So come back for that one. And more stuff coming your way. Lots of videos. Until next time, though, I'm Tom Vassell.
I'm Z Garcia.
I'm Mike Delicio.
Have fun knowing your Kickstarter numbers.
Ooh.